Okay, we'll just check if these have the right components. Just a second. And they do. Anyways, let's get on with it. New. Let's make a new Rod. Hello. Okay, and let's make it a land contact. Import. Get land contact. Blah blah blah. Okay, I actually have no gear. Shouldn't really matter. Okay. Just to because I'm gonna use the default model.cfg and config.cpp. I'll be using the same names. You can just do the same. I'm quite sure Bohemia has given. I've read the README, and apparently we have been given permission to use the stuff from the samples. So let's load up the default model or the sample model and look in the land contact. Okay. This is quite annoying actually. Okay, hello. Oh, there we go. Anyways, so the front one is gear 1 stable. Okay, that's probably check. Hello? Um, so the front one is gear 1, stable 1. And the back ones are 2 and 3. Oh my god. Oxygen, don't do this to me. Anyways, so now we know that. I'll just put this over on my secondary monitor because it's getting the space is pretty tight here. Anyways, so we know that the front wheel has to be gear 1 stable 1, and you have to mark the vertice, right click and click redefine. So now this name selection is bound. Should be bound. It isn't. Let's do it again. Fine. There we go. So this name selection is bound to this vertice. Now let's do it again with other names. Okay, now let's bind this to this. Redefine. And this to this. Redefine. Okay. So this. Okay, good. Now our land contact is done. Let's save here. Should actually save the start, but you know, whatever. Hello, future jet. Anyways, land contact. Actually, I forgot to do one thing in the custom geometry, and you can probably guess what it is. It's giving a name selection for the whole thing. So the name selection, as we can see in the sample over here as well, is for the whole thing is this is called hull in Czech, I believe. Sputek. I'm not even gonna try. Anyways, that's the hull. So we'll just call our whole plane the hull. Now we're gonna redefine. So now our whole plane is the hull. Okay. So now let's define the ailerons. I only did ailerons. I didn't do the elevators and rudder and stuff like that. You know, pure laziness, more or less. Um, yeah. If we look in the sample model again, this is by the way defined in the model.cfg, so you know it can be whatever. But there's aileron left and aileron right, and we can obviously determine by left and right which one fits to which. So let's mark a right aileron, make a new selection, call it aileron right. We forgot to define it, but anyways we'll do it later. Aileron left. So let's click the right aileron, mark it, redefine it. Left aileron, right click the left aileron, define. So right, left, spittek. Now, our custom geometry is done. I mean, blood. Yeah. Okay. Um. Okay. Now we only need the memory. Memory is like the hardest. Not really hardest. Actually, texturing is the hardest in my opinion. Anyways, getting off topic. Let's import an object file and memory. Okay. And you want the scale to be 1, unless you want your model to be smaller or whatever. I wouldn't suggest that, considering you've already scaled it to the character model when starting to model it. I'm sorry, I have to eat these apples before that go bad. So let's take a look. Here we have. Okay. I'll just move these. By the way, you see up here, this is basically what axis moving things on. So I want my pilot to get in here, or be here when he has to enter the aircraft. So this is the left side of the aircraft, if you remember, because this is the exhaust. So if we take a look at the sample again, what's memory? It's called aileron left axis and aileron right axis. These are probably defined in the model.cfg, but we'll get into that later. So the selection should be aileron axis, and there should be aileron axis. Let's redefine. Same for here. Not delete. Redefine. Okay. So we don't have air brakes. We do have exhaust and exhaust direction. So let's make X1 and exhaust there. So let's. This is the initial starting point for the exhaust. Okay, and why is this defined to the direction? What the hell? I probably redefined the wrong thing, or did I? I apparently... Oh, I probably had these selected over here when writing in this name selection. Shouldn't really matter, I can just redefine it. Remember, it's redefining, it's not defining. It's not adding, it's like replacing. Left, right, direction, exhaust. We need a place for the pilot to get in. That didn't work. I am a rookie at O2. I will admittedly say that. Where the frick is pilot? Oh, there we go. Pause driver. I'm retarded. Pause driver. Hello. So that's a pause driver. That's the location, and there's a pause driver direction. Oh, that should be correct. Let's check. And because I already had them selected when making the name selection, they were like bound to the name selection. Anyways, memory points are done. So by the way, quick important note or whatever. The axes here, if Arma interprets them as like instead of the alien going like this or going up and down, it could be inverted because of these two axes being, or Arma reading them as being the wrong way around, to say so. So it might actually happen here. Not sure though. We can just try to do it on purpose. Anyways, if you want to fix it, you can go to points. I'm not sure if there's a switch points. Anyways, this is how I did it. So when, by the way, you have to have them selected. Go to points, properties, open up your snipping tool, take a picture of this, just move this out of the way, points, properties, and then want to switch these around. So these are the coordinates x, y, z. You want these coordinates to be in 4. You want the 3 coordinates, like the vertice 3 coordinates, to be in vertice 4, and you want the vertice 4 coordinates to be in vertice 3. So they switch places. So the axis like turns 180 degrees, and that should fix the problem if you think of it graphically. Oh yeah, hello. Let's close bulldozer because no one likes it. I'm just kidding. We love you, bulldozer. Hello. And that should be it. Actually, should be good to go. So here we have our done product. Sorry for the chewing. Let's go to our samples folder. It can be found in Steam apps, common, 3 tools, samples F, and these are the Bohemia samples. Here's the license and the README and stuff like that. You can read it yourself. By the way, do not download the tools or anything like that from the internet. Do not download them from the wiki because they are most likely the Arma 2 tools, and you do not want them. Do not want to use them for Arma 3 because you can run into a lot of errors and stuff like that. So here we have the Arma 3 tools. Whatever. Install them. You're not gonna have a good time if you don't. Like, you won't have a good time if you don't set up P drive. Anyways, let's go to plane, test plane, because this is what we are building. Just rename this because this took me quite a long time to build. Old habits die hard. Paste. Okay, here we go. So now we have the model, but in reality, just putting a model in here and binarizing it wouldn't really do anything. So having this config. By the way, this is the samples config, so it has a lot of this text demonstrating what the different stuff does. I would highly recommend reading this. Highly. Or else you're gonna have a bad time. You are gonna have a bad time if you do not read this. It's basically just a lot of classes and how they inherit. By the way, this means inherit. This inherits this. This inherits this. This inherits this. And this defines. So yeah, blah 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 blah. Let's go with it. So it just has a lot of different options, and you'll read them because you have to read them, or else you're a scrub. And we have the model.cfg here. It has no smart colors, so it's quite confusing. A little trick you can do is what did I do? Hello. Copy the config and paste it again. It's like, so it's config 2. Go into the model.cfg, copy everything, paste it into the config, and save it. Just so you can edit with colors, because everyone likes colors. These are the different bones, rotating stuff, like movement basically. If you're working with something like cars and stuff, you have a physics Yeah, good job. I just opened the Visual Studio. See you next year. Oh, it actually booted quite fast. Anyways, so these are the different things cars need and stuff like that. You can read about them all in here. All the different things. There's even static models. Where are you, Visual Studio? Okay, so you see this is the car. There's a lot of documentation here. Going through this, you'll probably Splendid Zero Landed. Yeah, it's like kind of a lot of the tutorials of things you'll be learning are from the community rather than actually Bohemia. But this is a very good starting point, reading all of this, or what, just at least for whatever you're building. Like, a plane was my first project. Anyways, let's get on with it. By the way, for your model, this is quite important. I did this and it fucked me up. Over whatever. This will say like something like this. By default, this means that it will only like it will grab the model when you compile this folder here. It'll make a mod called samplesf.pbo, and then it'll look in the PBO, and it'll see it looks in this PBO for the model, and it looks in this folder, and it'll find the model here. This will be the model the name for the model. Um, so what I did was just removing this because I'm not gonna wait for it all to binarize, even though it only takes like 1 minute extra. So now it only looks here and here. So you only want to binarize this folder and not this whole folder. Somewhere in the config it actually says that what the default pilot is, but I'm too lazy to change that right now. Look forward. Let's just delete this. By the way, extra files like extra models like this and this will be binarized. It just won't be used because of your config, but it will get binarized to remove all your scratch pads and stuff like that whenever you start binarizing. That should be all. So let's binarize. Tools, add-on builder. Let's find the add-on. Plane. Remember, we're going with this folder. Unless you haven't changed the config to where the directory is, you want this folder. By the way, the game will instantly crash if you try to load up the model and it can't find the model. Your game will crash. I'll give you some kind of crash log where it can be found in app data or whatever. So plane and output directory is just my default add-ons directory I use for stuff I make myself. I'll just pack it, testing stuff rather. Binarizing should be pretty quick. Let's go to number 3. Broadcast. I'm not sure what is it. I was just testing a jet because it looked pretty cool. I don't really need this. But like keys and buy signs are basically things you can generate to like copyright your things, I believe. Anyways, now we have a mod here. A mod is actually done. Now let's cross our fingers and hope for the best. I'm just gonna show you something actually. A common error. Basically going through all the stuff I had to learn the hard way. Come on, editor, you can do it. Okay, so let's with all our hopes up, let's spawn a civilian, because it's on the civilian. You can change that in the config.cpp. Air and cast version. Am I doing anything wrong? I believe not. So let's spawn it and see what happens. Preview. Oh no, it didn't work. What is this? This is basically because I believe the pilot and the pose are things that are made in the other samples. So what you can do is you can because the pilot you're trying to put in here doesn't exist, or the pose doesn't exist, so it like glitches out. So you want to spawn a character, and you want to spawn the jet empty. You can change it in config.cpp. I should have done that, but I'm too lazy to look forward. And let's get our jet at. There you go. Let's call it something. Blah blah. ASD. Player move in driver ASD. Okay, so now our player should be put it. Hello. It's probably the worst English I've ever heard. Oh, loading in. Loading in. Hasn't crashed yet. Here we go. Jet's on. Check the ailerons. Need some speed first. Oh, the ailerons work! A bit rough. No wheels. Jet's pointing up. This is a geometry LUD and I mean land contact LUD and geometry LUD and stuff like that. Interacting. You can see how you can see how it's hovering. That's land contact LUD. Flaps don't have any visual appearance because we haven't defined them in the model. By the way, I highly recommend you point your model straight so it will actually go there where people believe it will go. Whatever. Hello. If you look inside, you can see nothing. If you look, you can see under the jet. So by this we can we can conclude that the jet is like the center of the jet is the center of the jet is right here, and it's a bit over the center. Character's basically in the center. Let's try finding the flares. Should be coming from the default position because we have no position defined. If you look there, that's our exhaust in the middle, as we defined as well. By the way, if you want multiple exhaust points, you have to define them in the model.cfg. All that fancy stuff is defined in the model.cfg. You can read about it on the Wikipedia. It's one of the more useful Wikipedia or wikis for yeah, okay. It's more one of the more useful wikis for modeling. So that should be all, I believe. I believe. By the way, read this, okay? Just don't try to avoid it. Read it. Read the config.cpp and read the model. If you want to make a working model, your own model, a cool mod rather, you want to write some of your own stuff in the model.cfg and the config.cpp. I believe that was everything. And obviously you can make UV maps and you can export the UV map textures. I mean the UV map edges. UV maps, hello? You can export the UV maps in Blender and then you can build a UV map in like Photoshop or whatever, and then you can port it in O2 and use your UV map there as texture. So anyways, I think this concludes the tutorial. I hope this helps. If you didn't like it, congratulations. If you did like it, I uh, I hope you can. I hope you'll build your model, and I hope you'll build your model. I mean, I hope you have a good day, and I'd like to see some comments on models you've built, successful models preferably. So goodbye, I guess.